Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Vee, or Jazz, whatever you prefer. I can't believe I'm doing this. I've decided to make a booktube channel because there's already too many of them. The main idea to me is I want to document something next year. And I thought, why not start a YouTube channel for it? Today, I was thinking to make a little get to know me, introduction to me as a person and this channel. I will have you 5 books to introduce myself. I don't know if there's anything else I need to say. Like and subscribe. That's like the go-to. And then let's go right into this. All right. So I will do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I guess you can just like imagine, like, it's not a ranking, but certain books are like, they made me. Yeah, so I chose 5 books. I'll explain to every single book why I chose it, what it means for me, what the book is about. And I'll start with one that I can guarantee you, if you are not from Switzerland, you have probably not read it. This is the first book. It's called Reuters Azona, and it's by Pedro Lenz, who's a Swiss author. And I cut the first thing, so I'm from Switzerland. I speak Swiss German, and this book is written in Swiss German, which is rare because obviously in Switzerland we also speak German, or the written language is usually German. So if I read a book in my native language, I will read a book in German. However, there is literature in our local dialects, and Pedro Lenz is one of these authors who writes in local dialect. And he is also the one who kind of got me into reading books written in Schweizerdeutsch. This book here was the first one. Actually, it was not the first one I read, but it's as an adult, my own free will. This was the first one I read. I've read one of his books in school because we had to. I will definitely reread that one day. But this one here, back then I got it from the library and I read it on my e-reader as an ebook. And I really got into it. It's a collection of short stories. He writes for a newspaper, column, I guess it's called. He writes, I think once a month is released. In total, it's like 1.5 pages if you then have it in book format. And he writes about everything. It's nonfiction. It's about his life, about things he experiences. It's sometimes very political. It makes you think. I really like this book, and it got me into his literature in general. Now I have a whole collection of his books. So this is the first one, Reuters Azona by Pedro Lenz. I don't know if there's any translations of the books of his or this one specifically. I will look it up, but I doubt. And for me, I think the fact that it's Swiss German is a major part of the experience reading this book. So yeah, that's the first one. So then book number 2, I don't have physically because I read it as an ebook. It's Bloodchild by Octavia E. Butler. Maybe my editing skills will allow me to like put the cover somewhere. That book got me into sci-fi, I would say. I read it December last year. It's a short story. It's like 60 pages, I think. And it's amazing. It sounds crazy to say that if you know what it's about, but this book changed, or I don't know if it changed much for me, but it blew my mind. The book blew my mind, and it made me fall in love with Octavia E. Butler as a writer, as an author. And she's actually the reason I make this channel, but we'll talk about that some other time. So it kind of introduced me to all of her literature. And I read Kindred earlier this year, and I'm gonna read a lot more of her books soon. So Bloodchild, what is this book about? This book is a sci-fi novella / short story that plays on a distant planet. There's an alien society, and there are humans that are allowed to live in this alien society. And the book follows a boy and his family. It's a lot about reproduction, about how these aliens reproduce, and how humans are treated and what role they play in this entire thing. So that's what the book is about briefly, since the book is only 60 pages. I can't really say too much because it quickly becomes a spoiler because the book is so short. So if I say too much, you already know half the book. But yeah, it follows a boy, different planet, alien society. That's all you need to know. If you like aliens, if you like a quick read, read Bloodchild. It fascinated me because it's such a short story. So like 60 pages. I remember I read it on the train from where I live to the next city, which is 20 minutes. Started reading it when I was going there and finished reading when I was coming back. So it was 40 minutes and I finished the book. Like the world Octavia was able to build in such a small amount of pages, but still by having a story that is telling something, that is exploring political theme, that is exploring racism, colonialism, and so many like different things on only 60 pages. It blew my mind. I read her author's note in that story. I had to laugh so much. And I was like, oh my god, this author is so cool. I wish I could be her friend. And then I Googled her and saw that she had passed away almost 20 years ago. And I was like, damn. I can't be her friend. Since I cannot be her friend, I'll read all her books. Duh. But yeah, an Octavia E. Butler book had to make it. I love everything I've read from her and about her so far. So here's still a lot more. So Bloodchild is my second book. And then my third book, I also don't have physically. I will get it physically one day, but so far I have not decided yet which version I want to get. And it's 1984 by George Orwell. What is this book about? I think most people have heard of it in some capacity or have seen references or heard references of this book. So basically what it is an alternate outcome after World War II, I would say, where the world splits into three huge states. So instead of like the almost 200 states we have today, there's three. It's the year 1984, and we follow our main character who lives in this society that is very controlling. There's a curfew, there's a lot of things that you're not allowed to do, the language is being changed, there's a ton of censorship, there's like all kinds of things that you can imagine in a dystopia. And our main character starts to question the truth that is being fed to him, and he tries to like uncover what is really going on. Are the news actually true? The history that we are deleting, where does it go? Do people really don't know what happened before? Because there are some memories he has of events that happened, that took place, that you can't find any information about anymore. So he starts to do his research, starts to try and figure out what's going on, and tries to figure out if there's a way to break free from this society. Yeah, 1984. Like if I say it like that, it's not like so many movies, and it definitely is a groundstone for most dystopias that we have these days. So I think most people know this book. It's a classic. It's insane. And I love it in like a weird, twisted way, because obviously it's nothing nice happens in this book, if we want to put it like that. But I think about this book at least once a day. It lives rent-free in my head. Sometimes I just walk down the street and then I go like, oh wow, imagine if it was 1984, nobody would be walking down that street. Just like thoughts like that go through my mind, or I see a screen and I go like, oh wow, imagine if it was 1984, then you know. So I think about this book way too much, way too often. It was my first dystopia, I think, that I read. And I've fallen in love with the dystopia or also utopia genre since. I've been like, yes, these are the kind of books I really like. Even though every single time I read one, my brain goes like, we're kind of living in dystopia ourselves, aren't we? Oh gosh, it's going downhill for us now. But yeah, 1984, definitely one that has not left me, that has been with me all this time. And yeah, I really like this book. I recommend it to everyone. I think everyone should read 1984, for better or for worse. It's a very intense read, and I really enjoyed it. Then we come to book number 2 on the list. And I have this one physically. It's a German version because I got this book, well, like 15 years ago? I don't know. Aragon is about a boy or a young guy called Aragon, obviously, who lives in a small little village in a little mountain area. The village is called Carvajal. He lives with his uncle and his cousin, and he accidentally finds this blue stone that turns out to be a dragon egg, even though dragons have been extinct for 100 years, with the king of the country being the only one who has a dragon. And of course, the dragon decides to hatch. Saphira is her name. She's on this beautiful cover. He becomes a dragon rider overnight. So there's a lot of expectation suddenly on him because he's the only free dragon rider that is not under control of the king. He's the only one with a dragon that is not the king. And of course, chaos ensues. People try to get him. He starts to be hunted down by both the people who want him for their cause and obviously the monarchy who want to get his ass and make sure he doesn't stir up a revolution. Kicks off 4 books of Aragon. So this book is on the list because this is literally my youth and my childhood. Like, I have Aragon here. Growing up, this was my favorite fantasy series. I love Aragon. I recently reread all the Aragon books and the newest one from Christopher Paolini. I reread all of the Aragon books in preparation for that new one. It took me 2 years. It was released 2 years ago and I only finished it this year. It was fun. It was so much fun to get back in this world. In this first book, in my opinion, it's the best one. It's such a good opener to the world of Aragon and the dragons and this system that we're living in and the oppression and like, yeah, this book, I really love it. For me as a teen, that was where it's at. All of the Aragon books were gifted to me by family members, most likely my mom if I think about it. And I remember when the 4th one was released, because I was waiting for that book to be released. I was like, yo, we're getting an Aragon book this year. I will be the first one to get it. Like, this was how I was, and then I got it as a present, as a hardcover. And I read all of them in German. I also reread all of them in German because that's the language I grew up with. I'd be interested in reading them in English someday, but for now, that's what I did. I read all of them in German. I own all of them in German. Yeah. Aragon, big part of my youth, of me growing up. It's the fantasy series for me. That's where it's at for me. I mean, obviously these days I've read more fantasy and have different opinions, but for me as like teenager me, this book was everything. Love. Okay, and finally, the last book. Now, I don't know, like you probably already can take a guess what it could be. It's Howl's Moving Castle. I chose this version. See, I have more versions over here. We could go with this one. Howl's Moving Castle. It's my favorite book. Actually, not just is it my favorite book, Howl's Moving Castle is my favorite media. Period. I love the movie. The movie is my favorite movie, has been my favorite movie for ages. It's obviously my favorite Ghibli movie. It's my favorite anime. It's my favorite movie. I have been collecting house-themed things, mainly pins, for a long time. I've got a lot. Yeah, I've read the book. I love the book. I read the whole series. I got multiple versions of this book, so I'm still collecting house things. And this story, it's just... I just love it. I don't even know what to tell you. Like, Howl's Moving Castle is magical, it's whimsy, the characters are fun, the story is fun. I really liked the difference of the book compared to the movie. I enjoy both media the same amount. I think both of them are great. And I really, like, it took me by surprise when I read it and I was like, oh, so this is what happens in the book. Howl's Moving Castle is about our girl named Sophie Hatter. You can guess 2 times what her occupation is. And she gets cursed by the Witch of the Waste to look like an old lady. And then she walks away from home and finds the moving castle. Like, her goal is to get uncursed. Chaos ensues. Like, this book, big chaos. The moving castle, obviously, there's a wizard in there, Wizard Howl. He's chaos himself, and we learn a lot about the life on this continent, but also in this country specifically, and about our wizard Howl and his castle, how his castle works, and also about Sophie. And the greatest thing about this, like, it's a romance. You don't feel like it's a romance because there's so much else going on. Their dynamic, Howl and Sophie, is out of this world. She is grumpy, like just grumpy, and he's not a sunshine. He's dramatic, he's chaotic, and she's just grumpy, grumpy, grumpy. And these two, they will never stop bickering. I absolutely love it. So I recommend not only the book, I recommend the entire series. So go read those if you haven't already. Howl's Moving Castle is like a big part of my life. I talk about it a lot. I own things from that movie and the books now. It's my favorite thing in the world. I guess I'm obsessed with Howl's Moving Castle. So obviously that's the #1 book, because there's one thing you need to know about me. I'm obsessed with Howl's Moving Castle. It's so small. It's a 2001 hardcover version. It's like the tiniest hardcover I own, and when I got it in the mail, I was like, oh my god, this is such a cute book. And I do think out of all the versions I own, including like special editions, this one is my favorite, because I just really like the old art, or old, it's not old, obviously the book is not an old book, but like just how it used to be, you know, like how things used to be made. I did tell my partner yesterday that if they ever want to show how much they love me, they can buy me the 1986 version of it, so like the first cover version that is out of print, because why not? It costs like $800, but you know, it's a Howl's Moving Castle book, so that's fine. So yeah, maybe one day I will have that one too to be added to my collection. That would be amazing. But for now, this is my oldest one. And that is the 5th book. So these are the 5 books to introduce myself. So we have Goethes de Sonne by Pedro Lenz for my Swiss German side. Then we have Bloodchild by Octavia E. Butler as an introduction to sci-fi. That's become a big part of my reading. And also Octavia, who's my favorite author now. Then we have 1984 by George Orwell, a book I think about every single day. The Parent of All Dystopia, the book that made me question every move that I do. Love that one. Aragon, the book that is my childhood or my youth, the book I love, the book series actually that I grew up with and I still love and always will hold a special place in my heart. And finally, Howl's Moving Castle, my very personal obsession. So those are my 5 books. So now we're at the end of this video, which means I have to say, like, the things YouTubers say. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you have time to write a comment, why don't you tell me 1 or 5 books to introduce yourself that you would say make you as a person or as a reader. If I get a comment, I will definitely like read it and reply to it, because that's kind of exciting. Imagine if I get a comment, that would be very cute. Without further ado, I'll see you next time. And the next video will be all the books I read in September. Quite a few. So if you want to come back, there will be another video. Thank you for watching and